Hello everybody and welcome to my little creative corner. I've been busy today filming a new journaling tutorial for you and I thoroughly enjoyed the process. This one is really fun one, and also I just want to take a moment and celebrate if you've been doing all of them with me every month. Or maybe you haven't, maybe you're doing a few throughout the year. So I started with the first tutorial in January, so it has been, quite a few months. And I just want to say that even by filming these tutorials and teaching you all of these designs, because I always have these ideas, but I also struggle keeping everything straight. I don't know why, but I really struggle doing straight lines. I just want to say that I have massively improved on that. This is the eighth tutorial I'm doing, and honestly, the practice is paying off and I feel much more confident doing layouts and things. So also this month we have a really nice cover page and it's just really pretty. So we'll be focusing on Faux calligraphy today, and if that's something you haven't done before, you're in for a really fun session. So we'll be focusing on writing in a really nice flourished way, but also adding a bit of thickness to the downstrokes, so that it does look as if we were doing it in a brush pen, although they're just using a fine tip pen. So this is just a really nice way of making your writing look as if it's calligraphy, even if you're just using a normal pen or pencil, Crayola pen, marker. It's really up to you. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I hope you're feeling ready. Thank you for joining me for this session. I'm really excited to see what you create. Please share on Instagram. So if you're on social media, please share your work. I would love to see. It's always nice how beautiful, back and forth when I'm putting something out there. I really love seeing how you make it yours, and just seeing your go at it makes me so happy. Honestly, it makes me smile. So please share on Instagram. You can tag Creative Field Designs. So please tag me if you're sharing your work. I would love to see, and just have fun, and I hope you all have a wonderful month ahead. So let's start creating, shall we? So I've got plenty of pens here and I'll just guide you through it so you know what I'm using, and you can use similar supplies if you have them. So we'll need a pencil. So there we go. I'll also use a gold pen. I'll add the link to all of the pens. And also this one. So I really love this Tombow pen. It's like a twin tone pen. So it's got a really fine tip pen, which I'll use for all the lettering, and then also a thicker tip, like a marker. Also I'll use this Tombow dual brush pen in green, and we'll need a fine tip pen of some sort, so I'll just use this one. You can also find the link for this in the description. I will also use this yellow pen by Tombow. We'll use it for the Wreath. And also these two neutral pens. So if you have any neutral pens, that would be great. So these are by Ecocline. And we'll need a round object of some sort. I'll just use this tape roll. So this will be for drawing the outline of a circle. You can use anything. So I'm just doing it. So position your round object on your page on the left. So you're going to do a spread. So let's start with the left side. And just really lightly trace it. So we get a nice little circle. Now we're going to start doing these flowers. So I've picked up this really neutral beige color pen. It's a brush pen. So the idea is if we go up and down in these quick motions, and you can also go down and up. So you can start with a downstroke. And when you go down, you just apply a bit of pressure and it creates this really natural looking blobs that kind of resemble little flowers, and we'll add a bit of detail in there, of course, and they will look like flowers. So every time you go up, just try to keep your stroke really thin, and every time you go down, just flatten your brush a bit and it will create a thicker stroke. Now I'm going to do the same thing in yellow, and maybe I'll focus on going in a different direction slightly. So again, I'm kind of going up thin, going down thick, and really quickly. So I'm not being really careful at all. It can definitely be a bit messy and inaccurate. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. There we go. So we kind of form these little petals. So I think these two colors work really nicely together. Now we're going to grab some green. So if you have green. I'm just thinking here. So I want to go for like a darker green. Yes, so this will be good. So we're going to do like little bottoms of the flower head before we draw a really thin stem. And when you do the stem, see if you can keep it within the circle. So literally just like tracing the pencil line. You can also use like a fine tip pen for that if you struggle to do thin lines with a brush. But again, quite quickly. So this style, so we're drawing in this really like loose style, and it works really, really well if you're doing it fairly quickly, kind of with a bit of momentum. So it's definitely not one of those like really precise and thought through styles where where every stroke matters. Not at all. So we're definitely just feeling creative, feeling in a flow, and just doing these really quick gliding motions with the pen. There we go. So you can go like outside the circle, of course, a little bit as well, but do try to keep this round shape. And we can add some of these really like wobbly looking leaves. So I'm doing the outline first, and then like in the same motion, I'm just going back and doing like a line through the leaf. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. So starting with like a wobbly outline, and then just doing a center line, like a line through the middle. See if you want to walk like in different directions. So for the yellow flowers, I'm going to go the other way, or just like the left side is going to face towards the right. So all the leaves are kind of facing a different direction. Just play around a little bit. It doesn't have to be in any particular way, but changing the direction can be nice sometimes. And there we go. So that starts to look quite interesting, I think. So I'm just adding in some more leaves. Lovely. You can colour them in a bit more if you like, but I kind of like that they are quite like hollow in the middle. I think it's quite nice. Now, this is important, so we're going to grab a fine tip pen. I'm using a black fine tip pen, and I'm just doing a center for each flower. And the way I'm doing it, I'm just like doing lots of loops that come back to the same point, and we get this like beautiful little center. It's quite big. It definitely wants to be quite big to be effective. And then I'm kind of like drawing really loose circles on top of each little loop. They can be dots or circles, it's up to you. So again, I'm just trying to stay in flow here. My hand is definitely moving quite quickly, but not necessarily because I'm rushing, but just because this style definitely wants to be quite in a flow. So try not to overthink it. Now I'm going to grab a gold pen, and I'm just going to add like little clusters of dots. And these will be for little berries. So just dot them around, literally dot these dots around. And I am kind of, I'm trying to position them in a way that will look as if it's like a little branch of berries. So see how I'm connecting them now with a little stem. So I'm using a fine tip pen to do this, and I think it works. I think it looks quite nice. So try to find a way of making this look natural. So think of the direction you want to face when you add these little lines. So see how I'm changing them up a bit depending on what these little dots will look like. It kind of helps me to determine which way they'll face. So definitely involves a bit of thinking and imagining what that would look like in nature. There we go. So I'm quite happy with this, to be honest. I don't feel like it needs much more. So one thing I will do though is grab like a really beige looking, really neutral pen and just add a bit more of like a background element to fluff everything up a little bit. I love doing this, but for this to work, the pen has to be like super translucent. So I'm using my Ecocline Brush Pen. It's really light, so otherwise if it's not light and if it's quite saturated, it's just gonna look quite heavy. So it definitely wants to look really light. And I'm definitely like adding like a thicker stroke in each of the leaves. Again, quite messy looking, just quick brush strokes to color them in a bit more. And then I'm quite happy with this. So let's go ahead and draft the calligraphy, so the lettering. So we are gonna write hello August, just to welcome the new month. And I'm doing it in pencil first because it's just nice, you know, it's nice to have some guidelines when you're going over with the pen. So once I'm happy that it's nicely scented, it might take a few times, you know, you can rub it out and do it again. I'm just going to go over and use this fine tip pen in pink to just do like a nice stylized writing. So notice how I make all of the loops quite big, and notice how some of the letters look a bit bouncy, like the letter U. So the second downstroke is definitely longer than the first one. And I'm also going to add like a nice long stroke on the letter T. And all of the beginning and end strokes are also a bit longer. So we call them entry and exit strokes in calligraphy. And so full calligraphy is about just going over the downstrokes of your letters again and like thickening them. And you can do it with the same fine tip pen, or you can use something a bit thicker. So I'm using the like a thinner side here, and it does take a lot of focus, you know, this will take a bit of time. So what I find really helps is, you know, obviously making those transitions at the bottom look neat is quite hard. So as you go down, see if you can like lift your pressure a little bit, especially on all the bottom part where it transitions from thick to thin. That can be really, really helpful. So I'm just gonna see if I want to add like another flower there, because the top looks a bit empty. So once you do your writing, you can reassess your own design and see if it needs anything else. So mine definitely needed like a little extra flower there. So I'm just doing that. So here at the end, I've decided to use a thicker side of the pen to go over those downstrokes. It's just so much easier. You just like go over those strokes again. Or you can use a combination of both actually. I love using a thinner one to correct little small details, and a thicker one just to give the downstroke that initial thickness. So yeah, I definitely think this works. So shall we start with the second side? So I've picked up my beige pen, and again, this wants to be like quite a neutral colour. So I am just doing the same flowers as before. So these can definitely be a bit bigger if you like. So I'm just going to do like 4. So pretty much like in a corner, in each corner. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to draw. I'm going to do a cheeky one there as well. So we're going to draw little like caps, like little bottoms of the flower head, and do a little stalk this time that's quite curved. It doesn't have to be straight, so actually the more curved it is, the better it will look. And so see how you could like make them look natural. So I'm going to do this one to the right, but then I'll do this bottom one kind of stretching to the left. Okay, so I'm picking up my fine tip pen to do the center of the flower. Same technique, nothing new. Just enjoy the process. Try to relax into it. I did find this particular spread quite therapeutic. Lovely. So we are going to do some leaves, but not until later. So I'm grabbing the same pink pen I used for my writing in the Wreath. So we are just going to write like a really nice stylized month at a glance. So I'm starting the letter M with this beautiful entry stroke and like quite a big loop, and I'm adding this underline flourish onto it right away. So notice how it goes from a downstroke to the left. I'm going to merge T and H together, so notice how I'm doing it. And also add a little cheeky flourish in the letter H. And try to work with your cross lines over the letter T. Don't be afraid to make them really long and like curved as well. I'm going to do the word glance on the second line, and I've started with like a really long entry stroke, and I've detached the letter L So now this time I'm starting the letter L kind of individually. And also I've added the same flourish that I did for the letter M, but this time on the letter N. And you can also finish with the letter E, with a nice little flourish there. And again, I'm just grabbing my thicker side of the pen and really carefully just going over all of the downstrokes. And if you mess something up, you know, just you can make the transition a bit more smooth by maybe flowing into the next stroke. So I definitely had a bit of trouble here. So I'm still trying to make it look quite smooth. So take your time here, go over every single letter with a bigger tip pen. It has to be the same colour for it to look effective, or you can just use the same tip, but just draw like a parallel line on every downstroke and then colour it in. Or if it's big enough, you might just get away by just going over all of the downstrokes again. I might speed this up because this will just take a different timing for everybody, so feel free to just do it in your own time, and when you're ready you can pause the video, and when you've done it we can carry on. Lovely, so now it's time to draw 2 lines. I'm just using my gold pen and I'm trying really hard to make these lines straight. So you can use a ruler obviously, and just try to do these 2 lines cross over like this. They don't have to be very big. It's just for the calendar. So we want to try and keep it fairly small. It always looks better when it's a bit small. And do try to position it right in the middle if you can. Now I'm just writing all the letters so of the days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm doing them just like lowercase alphabet, super simple. And so now I always struggle like keeping my numbers straight. So let's just do a bit of planning. Maybe you're the same. So I'm gonna divide this vertical line into 5 sections because that's what we're gonna need. We're gonna need 5 sections for this month's numbers. And once you've done it kind of freehand and you're happy with what it looks like, you can go over with a ruler and just do like a proper line. And this is just going to help you. Like having a baseline is super helpful when you're trying to do something in a straight way. So I hope it'll be helpful for you too. There we go. There we go. And now it's just time to fill in the calendar. So we're starting with Thursday, and that's the 1st, so that's today. And we'll finish on a Saturday, and that's going to be the 31st. So just fill it in, take your time, and obviously it's a bit easier when you're doing just a single number, and you'll realise that you have less room when you do like a double number, like 10, 11, 12. So just take that into account and maybe do your double numbers a bit smaller. Lovely. I'm just going to erase some of the pencil lines and just rubbing those out. And obviously if your pen is still drying, don't do it. Just let it dry, and it will depend on your fine liner. Mine dries really quickly, which is nice. So there we go. And once I get rid of all of the lines, I'll see a nice little calendar. So really, really helpful to see your month at a glance, literally. It's just really nice, I think. So if you have any important dates, you can like think about them. You have a nice little calendar, you know which day of the week it's going to fall on. So yeah, it's quite nice. Now we're going to carry on, and we're going to do a little section that says goals. So I'm going back to my pink pen and doing some stylized calligraphy, well, handwriting that we're going to turn into calligraphy. So I've added a little flourish in the letter G, I've detached the letter L, and I've stretched the letter S all the way to the right. And now it's time to thicken all of the downstrokes. So I'm just doing it letter by letter, super slowly. and carefully. So take your time. The letter S is a bit hard. Again, there's like a really tricky transition at the bottom, but just try your best to slow down towards the end. Great. And now I'm just going to do these little dots. So I don't know, I just had this idea that I want to do like a little circle of dots and then a little dot in the middle as well. So depending on how many goals you want to write, so that's what we're doing. Just a little dot in the middle. You can do the center of each and then just dot around in a circle. So I've done 5, and then you can just like connect the center with all of the dots using your fine liner. So you get these like really cute bullet points. I think yeah, they just look really nice. There we go. And then you can write down your goals. Obviously, I'm just gonna leave it blank for now, and I'm gonna have like a proper journaling session maybe this evening. Now, we can also like use the sides of the page. So we have quite a few areas there that are just blank. So how about we draw this little rectangle? And here we could just write mood. So maybe we could do like a little mood tracker. So I'm going to write mood. And again, I'm trying to stylize it. Notice how my letter D is quite detached and has like a really big loop. And my letter M has started with like a nice long stroke. And I'm thickening all the down strokes. It's the same thing. So we're going to do that to all of the writing. There we go. So, and now maybe you can pick 2 colors. So I'm going to choose yellow and maybe purple. So yellow and purple, and one's going to be a happy face and another one's going to be a sad face. And we can track our mood for like 14 days, let's say. So I'm just correcting this little letter D there. There we go, that was better. And I'm going to grab a fine liner and just draw a happy face and a sad face. And here in this actual rectangle, we can write like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then yeah, all the way up to the 14. And every day you can circle the number in blue or yellow. So it's black and white. There's no in between. So if you're feeling like you don't know whether it's been a good day or a bad day, it was probably a good day, right? So yeah, you can just like circle it every day and colour in. And we can do another little rectangle section on the other side of the page. So wherever you have room, basically. So just try to add in these little sections. So this one's going to be important dates. And I'm really, really emphasising my cross lines here. Notice how long they are. And I think it looks nice. So the same thing, I'm just going to go over. It's quite a small text here. So for calligraphy can be quite tricky when everything's quite small. But also I find that it's a bit quicker to like make it look nice because you don't have to color in too much. So yeah, important dates, and then you can write in there like any dates that pop out to you. Maybe it's some sort of an anniversary or a birthday or anything important. So yeah, it's quite nice to have that section, I think. And I'm just thinking whether we have enough room for something else. So maybe we can do one more little section at the bottom. So yes, let's do another one. And this is going to be for a new habit that you want to pick up this month. So whatever it might be, it could be yoga, could be reading, could be calligraphy, hint, hint, or, you know, anything. So we're just going to write new habit. And again, big loops. Notice how letter W and letter H has like a really big loop. And just make sure you do full calligraphy on this, and then think whilst you're doing it. I think it's quite nice to think. So that's what I think I find is therapeutic, because whilst you're colouring in all of the downstrokes, you get to think about, I don't know, the month ahead. I feel like your mind just kind of like wanders and you can plan a little bit in your head. So I found this session really therapeutic actually. So I hope you feel the same. So you can write your new habit in there. There we go. So this is pretty much the end result, and I might just add in some leaves with the green pen. You can do the same, just like fill in any areas that look a bit empty. You can just stretch your leaves into those areas and If you want to, feel free to add more flowers. And I always love adding like little 3 dots here and there, but every time I do flowers I just feel like, I don't know, it's such a nice addition. It makes everything look a bit brighter, a bit better. So I'm just dotting in gold and I think it looks quite cute. So there we go, that's the finished look. You can fill it in right away or you can just have another evening for journaling. I personally love having 2 separate sessions. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a wonderful month and I'll see you soon.